Can I start? Yes. Okay, good afternoon, members of the Fourth Estate. First and foremost, I would like to say this is the Senate Azimio. These are Azimio senators. Now, we have walked out of the House simply because two of our leaders have been told to walk out by the Deputy Speaker. The two are, on my right is Senator Olekina, the Senator for Narok, who is our new whip, and myself as the minority leader of the Senate. Basically leaving the House without the Senate minority leader, the deputy minority leader, the whip, and the deputy whip. So by being shown the door, that means now the Senate is loop-sided. And that is only the Kenya Kwanza side is in the House. I want to state it very clearly that on Tuesday, we submitted the letter which came from the leader of the minority of the Senate. And I wrote that letter to the Speaker. And I enclosed in that letter the notification of that meeting that was held by the senators of Azimio. It also included the list of the members who signed their names and signature, together with the explanation as to how we arrived at those changes of the new leadership. We submitted them to the Speaker, and the Speaker acknowledged. And he forwarded the same to the Office of the Clerk to communicate so that he can get directions. That was done while we were in the Senate Business Committee, in the presence of all members of staff and in the presence of all Kenya Kwanza senators who sit in the Senate House Business Committee. It is in that regard that whenever a political party decides to make changes on its leadership, the procedure is under Senate Standing Orders, number 23, sub-rule 6, is very clear. We were communicating with the Speaker so that the Speaker will be in a position to communicate other communications to the Senate, effecting the changes. That is the role of the Speaker. But incidentally, the Speaker has been kind of dodgy, and he has refused to communicate to the House with regards to our communication. It is in that regard, rendering basically the House of leadership on the minority side, which is supposed to check the government, leaving it open without leaders. What we have decided is that we cannot accept the ripping of our own standing orders, which have been there before, and they have been there. We are not going to allow that. These standing orders are the ones that guide both the houses, and they guide the Senate House. And we have precedents on that case. We did it last year, and if I may be very candid, I will say even the ruling side, the ruling party side, in the last session of Parliament of 2017-2022, the then Senator Murkomen of Algueyo Marakwet was the leader of the ruling party. They brought a similar notice, together with Kihika Kimani, who was the senator for Nakuru, together with Kangata, who was the senator for Muranga, together with the now Minister for Internal Security, Kingi. And that letter was accepted. And communication was done. And the Senate moved on in accordance with the standing orders. But what we have witnessed now is very strange. Because the same thing, what we are saying now, is exactly even on the opposition side as at that time. Our current Speaker of the National Assembly, our brother, Senator Wetangula, also faced the same law. And there was no problem. But for the first time, we are seeing the ripping of the standing orders. We are seeing a house that is totally being disorganized by the Speaker, which we shall not condone. We want an orderly house. We want a house that all of us can look at it. Ours is a very serious house. It is the house of reason. It is the house where most people are mature. All of us are mature. And we want to do our things in a very procedural way. But what is happening now, when the Speaker has refused to communicate to the House of the Senate, he has left the opposition or the Azimio side on a weak point where we don't have the leadership right now, which is a very dangerous phenomenon. And this is an act that should be condemned by all and sundry. I thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, I am speaking as a senior legislator. I've been a legislator in this parliament for the last 30 years. And I have been with many speakers. I know speakers are normally elected from different sides of the divide in the House. But when it comes to adhering to the Constitution and to the standing orders, all the speakers, including Kaparo, used to strictly adhere to the standing orders and the Constitution. I have never had a situation where a very simple issue, which should never have arisen, in the mother parliament is the one in Britain, in England. A situation like this can never. This is a procedural issue. The Speaker is simply a conveyor because he's not supposed to investigate anything. He's just supposed to receive that communication from the political party, the instruction actually, from the political party, and convey it to Parliament. But what the Speaker is doing is actually playing the game of the order and the Kenya Kwanza or Kenya what? Because that is their intrigue. It is their intrigue to finish opposition in Parliament, both in the National Assembly and in the Senate. And that is why they have decided to weaken the opposition by having handshake. They say they don't want handshake, but on the other hand, they are having handshake with the political parties from the opposition. They are poaching. Now, once they have poached, they want those people also to have their cake and eat it. They don't want us to have the space, because once they have stated clearly and publicly that they have left the Azimio coalition and moved on to the other coalition, then they should go and be given positions in the other side of the divide. They cannot have their cake and eat it and still want to retain the offices here. They want still to enjoy the offices and also enjoy the comfort from our side. So these are intrigues coming from State House, and we know it. Their aim is to kill opposition so that it becomes a monolith like Uganda, where Museveni is ruling and is even removing has even removed the two-term requirement in the Constitution. But we are not going to allow Kenyans to throw back the gains which they have made through sweat and death and blood. So this should never be allowed, and we are not going to sit as Senate, comfortable, just waiting for them to do it. Let them do it, but when they will do it, when they have finished all of us. But we are going to be in the forefront to fight for our people, because we are the representatives of our people, the millions and millions of people who elected the opposition, which is the Azimio. Thank you.
Thank you, I wish to state that the Constitution and the standing orders are very clear on this matter. Once a communication comes from the party, that becomes final, and that is what is taken. Article 103 of the Constitution is very clear. The moment you start associating and promoting activities of another party, you are deemed to have left your own party. Senator Dulo has already left Azimio, and she should in fact resign and seek fresh mandate from the people of Isiolo. There is no way she's going to force herself to be our whip, and our whip cannot be brought to us by another party or by Kenya Kwanza. So therefore, it is very important that she leaves by her own motion, and we are even not going to wait for the Speaker's ruling, because it is not even necessary. We should be able to proceed and occupy the office and carry on the activities of the whip and the deputy whip by the senators who are already Olekina and the Sifuna. Those are our servants for now. Senator Dulo is no longer our servant, and she has already quit our coalition, and she should resign, in my own opinion, and seek fresh mandate. Thank you.